As an actor, it's hard to have access to all your emotions when you haven't dealt with them. You're being asked to do something that really hits close to home, and you've been running away from it for the past 20 years. And now you're at work being asked to do it on the spot.
Take it with a grain of fucking salt,
You
people.
gotta take it with a grain of salt.
Take it with a grain of salt.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Take It With a Grain of Salt. I am your host, Derek Moore, your number one guide to creating a career in the entertainment industry. So last time we spoke, we talked about craft, and we looked at the artistic gains, and we also looked at some of the economic, more financial gains of what developing a craft is. Artistically, you have developed a process that gives you more freedom in whatever stories that you're telling. Financially, you developed a process and a product that is repeatable, that is bankable. I want to take this time to talk about, this is probably one of my favorite topics, which is character. I don't say it's my favorite because I have it figured out. I say it's my favorite because a lot of these things I dive. I fail at daily. You know, character building, character development is a lifelong journey. Much like any career that you commit yourself to, you're in it for the long haul, and it's just advantageous to continue to build on, what you started. In my opinion, this is like way more important than your craft, and your craft is very important. It takes years to develop it, but I would say the person that you grow to be, right? Your boundaries, your belief systems, your moral compass, your moral code. What I'm finding is that a lot of those that social credit score is, that it holds a lot of weight, especially in this business, right? Even more so now than ever, like the things that you do, a lot of the stuff that you say, it has weight. It has weight, and it can affect your future. Well, why is this important as a storyteller? Your job as a storyteller, in essence, is to examine the human condition and present it, and that requires a level of truth. You have to be able to get to some certain level of honesty when you begin to kind of put stories out that represent the human condition. And it's hard to do that when you're not honest with yourself, when you're not constantly working on yourself. It's not to say that you have to be this completed work of art, but definitely self-awareness, man, is a huge gain. We have seen in the past 5 to 10 years, maybe in this industry specifically, the character of a lot of people in power, and they are just now suffering the consequences of the things that transpired, the decisions that they made to be evil, to be awful. It's not going to happen the same for any new artist. One strike, it seems like, and you're gone. So it behooves any young storyteller, if you're gonna just be all out in front of the lights like that, to have yourself intact, to have some type of moral compass, moral code, whatever that is. A lot of young artists is just running out to the limelight, just wanting to receive all of the benefits of it. And man, celebrity now is just, in my perspective, awful. It's awful. I love my career path. I love storytelling. I love acting. I love filmmaking. Nothing about celebrity is appealing to me anymore. At first it was, I'm not gonna lie to you. I definitely wanted my name in lights. I wanted the notoriety. I wanted people to, oh, yo. And I just got a little piece of that, and it just made me feel weird. And nothing about like celebrity, people knowing things about you that, strangers having all of this catalog of your life. It's just weird. And right now in this day and age with like social media, it's just not fun. It just seems like celebrities are the punching bag for every audience or every consumer that has never dealt with their trauma. You know what I mean? And if any celebrity remotely resembles the thing that they weren't able to defend themselves against, they become the punching bag. They become the poster. Oh, you're just like that dude in 5th grade that, you know, said he didn't like my hair, or whatever the case may be. Celebrities are now, they take the hit for a lot of people. And you know, that's what young storytellers, that's the world you're coming into. So many of y'all hop on to TikTok and Instagram with your opinions about how the world is. And here's what I'll say. When it comes to that part, when it comes to like you engaging with social media, my opinion is it's best to stay a blank of a canvas as possible. I think a part of what you give up in storytelling, the business of storytelling, is you give up your right to be 100% about any opinion you have. You know, as a storyteller, it behooves you to take in the other side and present the through line, present where we are common at. I think if you fold yourself into one group without the honesty of being able to call your group out on their bullshit, you're not an effective storyteller. You're a biased storyteller, which, you know, there's a market for that. It's not a big one, but you're not changing anything. And that's part of I would say the downside to cancel culture. I think in the beginning it was great. It was beautiful. You are pulling out, when we talk about character, you're getting a lot of people with just bad character, bad morals out. And it worked. Now it's just this weird space where a lot of the people that were oppressed are sounding a lot like the oppressors. You know, it just seems like, you know, a lot of these people got a taste of blood and they like it. You can take this with a grain of salt, but I think it can play out one or two ways. Here's what I offer. Because I have things that I'm very passionate about and social stance that I'm not shy about. But I think you need to understand that those things come at a cost. That's the thing. Your opinion is not free anymore. And as an artist, I don't know, you should have one, but you know, your opinion is sacred. It is sacred. You give it to those you trust, you know? You give it to those that understand who you are. And if you're off, you know, they have the freedom to correct you. You don't get in front of a camera and just start spewing off just off gut emotion. You know, that is there forever. And I think as a storyteller and as an artist, you kind of want to mitigate, you kind of want to limit that as much as possible. Me, I'm a Black man. I feel strongly about that. When it comes to my character, I'm not shy about who I am and where I come from. That may make some people uncomfortable, and I'm okay with whatever opportunity that costs me, because it's much harder for me to fake it for the people that are uncomfortable than it is to, you know, I don't know. I don't want to shrink myself to be in other rooms. So whatever opportunity that costs me, I'm okay with that. So you need to understand that as an artist, whenever you get out in front of a cause, you might polarize your audience. You know, socially, it might be a great thing. Financially, it might hurt you. And it's not me to sway you one way or the other. But when we talk about character and we talk about, I mean, it's a big word when we talk about character. You need to understand those things. The decisions you make are reflections of your character. It's much less about what you say in retrospect is you know, the decisions. And under the word character is just another bulletin board word, I would say, of, you know, morals. Morals, character traits, belief system. These things are filtration systems, right, of decision making. Decision making, living life is a creative act. And we'll probably talk more into that when we get into the creative aspect. But decision making is a creative venture. You know what I mean? You go to a place when you make a decision and you live out the outcomes. That's creativity. And morals, beliefs, they kind of help make decision making easier. For an example, as an actor, I don't feel comfortable being naked on screen. I don't feel comfortable having sex scenes. You know, me as an actor, me as a storyteller, feels that a story can be told without those things, and they make me very, very uncomfortable. And I'm not shy about saying that into a room. So when something comes my way, I don't have to sit and think, because managing every decision in your life, it can be exhausting sometimes. And you have beliefs and you have your moral code set up to kind of put a lot of that decision making on the back burner. I don't have to think twice about, oh, will I do a sex scene? My moral code tells me, hey, if I look back at my moral code, it says that, hey, man, we firmly and belligerently believe that sex scenes will not vibe with us at all. You won't get the product that you're looking for if you hire me to do a sex scene. You might as well hire someone else. And there are a couple of things in the entertainment industry that are just hard boundaries for me. And I think for a lot of young artists, they don't have that. A lot of what I would say Hollywood, just from the outside looking in, a lot of people ran out to these places without developing craft, without developing character work, and they've turned into prey. The evil, bred them. The evil took advantage of the work of that work that didn't happen. They ran out there, they jumped out, they off the porch with it. I'm gonna be an actor, let me go out to the city. And none of that work is being done. Have boundaries. Have boundaries. Well, I don't know, I'm pretty cool with anything. Have a boundary. Just, have a boundary. Sit with what you don't want to do and stand on it. Because if you're around long enough, trust and believe you will be tested. I have a list of words that I like to strive to be good at. These words are not in any shape, form, or fashion like I got it figured out. I fail at these words, but I don't always. And I like to pat myself on the back in the moments where I'm like, yo, when I can check it off. The first one is honesty, right? We talked about this briefly at the top. That's what character building is as a storyteller. You are presenting a level of honesty about the human condition. And it's hard to do that when you're not honest with yourself. You can lie to the world, but God, just please be honest with yourself. As an actor, it's hard to have access to all your emotions when you haven't dealt with them. You're being asked to do something that really hits close to home, and you've been running away from it for the past 20 years. And now you're at work being asked to do it on the spot. And then you have to deal with it at work. Not only are you holding other people up, but you're holding the process up as well. And of course, the people are gentle and nourishing, but there's a level of professionalism. Art gets slapped with this whole loose and fairy thing, and there's structure here. There's people working. Everybody here is an artist, but there are people in the mindset of numbers. And hey, man, I gotta get off at 5 o'clock because I got kids. So you need to deal with your shit as an artist before you come into the room, because it's not about you anymore. Speaking solely for actors, discipline. Ooh. This is a word that might be lost on my generation. I really feel like discipline is it's not a word that you hear a lot in my generation. And I mean that for a lot of things, right? When I talk about discipline, I mean discipline to get up and learn this craft, discipline to understand your flaws as a human being. And if they seep out, having the discipline to apologize genuinely, discipline with your finances. Fellas, I'm looking at you, discipline with your dick. Having your dick in check is the best business decision that you will ever make. Having your dick in check is the best decision you'll ever make. And I'm not coming from a high and mighty place. I'm just saying that it's just economically the best decision that you'll ever make for yourself. It's just not putting you. Dude, I'm gonna say this real quick. LeBron James is probably one of my favorite athletes, and it has nothing to do with his basketball. I don't really like watching basketball. I'm not a basketball. I like football. I watch football. I watch a little baseball. But that's about it. I don't really watch basketball. LeBron James' greatest moment in NBA history is he was not on the court. He was going down. He was going down the upside of an elevator after being chased by these two women. Because he saw the ending of it before. This man that is a forward-thinking man that understands business. If he get caught up with these two women, bro, they might be nice ladies. But he's married. He has kids. He has a brand. He has this, for all intents and purposes, is one of the premier faces when it comes to the NBA. What the fuck does it look like for him to get caught up with these two random women? And there's no shade to him. I don't know him. But seeing that man go down the upside of the elevator, that he will forever be the greatest player in my book. That man has discipline. And fellas, I strongly encourage you to figure that out. I'm only speaking to the men because that's what I relate to the most. I'm a guy, I'm a heterosexual man, and I've had many struggles with being a heterosexual man and in terms of discipline. It's like invisible VIP. When you upgrade yourself, that's when you start to see the eligible women. If you downgrade, if you ain't really upgrade and you ain't really set yourself up with some principles, you're not gonna see these eligible women. They'll see you though, and that's the perk of elevating into the invisible VIP. You can't see above you, but you can see below you. So the women that understand the dynamic between man and woman, that are comfortable in their skin as women. These full women that are ready to support and love, that are ready to receive the same thing. They see niggas that ain't got their shit together miles away. And it's the same with it's the same with men. Women that, oh man, why am I single? Maybe you ain't got your shit together. You think you're hiding your insecurities and your imperfections, but man, motherfuckers see that shit a mile away and are opting out. They can take it or leave it. Niggas is leaving it for sure. So, and I will say the same for your circle of friends. When you decide to become an artist, for your parents, it might be one of the saddest days of their lives. Everybody's just not going to be on board for you being an artist. Your friends ain't always going to be on board. Your family ain't going to always be on board. And I'm speaking from experience on that stance as well. And it hurts. It hurts. But it's going to get hard, bro. It's going to get hard. And you want people around you that support the dream, that support the vision. Finances, I want to talk about this too. Financial discipline. As an artist, you're not on a 9 to 5, especially when you're starting out. When you're starting out, you audition, and you book, and then you got a job for 3 months, and then you back to auditioning. That money that you made in that 3 month span might have to last you for 6 to 7 months. You have to have some type of level of financial discipline, with the money that you get, and also open yourself up to other streams of income, especially now. Like, I don't know. I think it's gone are the days where you just an actor. It might be consistency. This right here, me doing this YouTube is just a prime example. Content creation. I'm almost certain there's a lot of you out there, and I'm part of the fray as well, of just those content creators that have a great idea but don't stick to it. When you start this, just know, I hear that the number is 1,000. Don't let 1,000 scare you. Just do 50. Do 50. Set the number in your head that I'm gonna just do 50 videos. I'm gonna do 10 videos. And they all don't have to be the same pieces of content. Diversify the content. I'm gonna do 10 videos. I'm gonna do 4 audio recordings. I'm gonna do 6 pictures with quotes on it. Content is the game, and being consistent with that is also a part of the game. If you want to be if that's the goal for you to be a major filmmaker, you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent, bro. A lot of people take in all of this inspiration. They get inspired in the moment. They do it for a week. You know, they get up on Monday. Oh man, I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna write for 10 minutes every day. By Friday, they back to the bullshit. You know what I mean? It ain't working. I just ain't really feeling it no more. So such a slave to how you feel. You gotta, you know, and this kind of goes back to discipline. It also speaks to consistency too. You gotta move when you don't feel like it. And you know, a lot of people, that's where they fall short. And I'm just speaking from experience of just coming through academia with the amount of actors, talented actors that you know might have taken some jobs from me that didn't move because they didn't feel like it, or you know they were being pulled in certain directions. Consistency, bro. Consistency. Sacrifice. Another word that I feel that is lost on my generation. Delayed gratification. This, I would say generally speaking, there are, you know, my circle of friends are men that, you know, are men and women that deny themselves instant gratification. The people that I hang around with are very long-term thinking people. But I would say as a populace of millennials, Gen X, you know, when people don't feel good about a situation, they rather quit. And when you get into a situation where you don't feel good, and it's not, this gift isn't yours. The talent that you have is not yours. It's God's, and it's not your gift to quit on it. You're on assignment. The moment you start to fight for this, the moment you decide that this is the journey that I'm gonna take, I'm gonna be a storyteller, I'm gonna be an artist. Man, prepare yourself. The shit's about to get real. And you're gonna have to sacrifice, and you're gonna have to struggle. You're gonna have to struggle. I'm sorry. And if that scares you away, good. You ain't supposed to be here. You're gonna have to struggle. It ain't fucking worth it if you ain't struggling. Not because it's struggling and it's because it's hard. It's because that's where wisdom is. That's where information is. You know, when a fire happens, they sift through the debris. They go through forensics to see what happened to potentially prevent it happening the next time. You have this dead frame in front of you, and you have to sift through the debris of your life when you fuck up to see, okay, all right, shit, this feels terrible. Sit inside, you know, you gotta sit there for a minute. You don't be so quick to brush it off. This shit feels bad. You fucked up a line, you fucked up doing this, you fucked up in your relationship, you fucked up whatever you fucked up at. That bad feeling it's good. You know for damn sure you don't want to feel that way anymore. So you're gonna make better decisions. You might attach that to a belief system. Makes decision making that much easier for you. Nothing worth having doesn't have sacrifice in the middle of it, bro. It's just, and what I mean by that, sacrificing some of the time. A lot of I went to school with a lot of niggas that just rather party than to work on something for an hour. I party. Anybody that know me that went to NSU or Alabama State or TSU, just know that I had a good time. But I did my fucking work. My brother, DJ 7 Trey, there's stories of him doing homework in the middle of the frat house while there's a Q party happening. Get your shit done so you can go have fun. Fuck it. All right, 20 minutes. All right, let me do 20 minutes on this monologue. Let me get to a certain point where I feel good about it. And then I'm out. But some of you niggas just scrap all of that shit off the table and just completely dive yourself into fun, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if there's not a balance of the work ethic, then, you know, what are you doing? What right do you have to say that this is what you want to do? And you ain't really sacrificing for it. Just commit yourself to something, bro. Commit. Even when you don't feel like it. If I can put anything on your heart right now, bro, it's that. That's where success is, when you don't fucking feel like it. And honor, integrity, this stuff is, I would say for me, it's happening more now in the play. It's coming more into play now than it was in my, I guess, informative years. It did come into play, but I've reached a point in my career right now where it looks like this thing actually might work out. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm having to discern a lot in terms of honor and integrity because there's potentially more money involved. And that's when all that shit goes out the window. What helps me is my last name. I come from a family that is very, very proud of their last name. They take pride in being a Moore when there's something good happening, when there's great achievements that happen in the family. A lot of my aunts and uncles just tell me that's because you're a Moore. My father tells me, you a Moore, son. You wear that last name with pride. You wear the Moore last name with pride. And I do. I have huge respect for my last name and just what it's attached to historically. Not everybody has that, but for me, honor. I have honor. I want to bring honor to my family. I want to bring honor to the family that I'm coming into. I have a young lady that I'm gonna be with for a very long time. As long as I'm here, I'm gonna be with her. I want to bring honor to that side of my family as well. If you don't have that, if what's connected to your last name is just generations of bullshit, what an opportunity for you to be the first to kind of start shifting that bloodline. That means something. When you're done as an artist, you have this vault of work that you did, and it should represent who you are. It should represent your last name. I'm putting it on your heart to think about it now, so you ain't doing bullshit. Being a man of your word. When you say you're gonna be there, when you showing up on time, when you speaking up when something ain't right, that means something to me. These are principles that I run my business on, and it's just a way for me to create the network that I resonate with, which brings me to what all of this shit sums up, right? The reason why character is more important than craft is because it's a direct access. It links you to the network. At least for me, coming up, I always had the connotation of networking, meaning that I'm always striving to be somewhere that I haven't been. Like I'm networking up. Issa Rae has this beautiful concept, networking across. Here's the gap. A lot of these people are in the bubble of that company. A lot of these people are looking for what's bankable. The beauty of where you are right now as a young creator is that you are a consumer / audience member transitioning into a creator. So you already know by what you don't see what is next. That's the cornerstone of every business. Find the problem and create the solution. And that's the gap between studios and young indie filmmakers. They have resource, you have the answer to the problem, which is relevancy. Don't be so quick to give that away. Or if you're gonna give it away, make sure you get the cash value, not a cent over, not a cent under. You get exactly what that is worth and you fight for that. But networking across is how you create your own little company that people somehow one day end up trying to fight to get into. The people that you work with on the way up, these are the people that hold your social credit score. I remember doing like the SETC conferences, all my theater people know what that is. And you just see like the fakeness on some of these actors that just, and it's for people that can just offer them like the smallest of opportunity, and you just know that's not how they are. I saw it in New York a lot when I'm going up to, Ripley Grier, or if I'm at the Actors Equity building. You just see the fakest people because they're trying to be other than themselves to get an opportunity, which I understand, but why not be that way all the time? You know what I mean? Why aren't you that way on that student film? Why aren't you that way with this regional theater gig? There's a documentary that I watched called, I don't know, for all my theater people out there, there's this documentary about the Chorus Line. So the Chorus Line essentially is a musical about these people auditioning for a role in this play. So it's a play about getting into a play. And they do a documentary on some of the actors that audition for this. And there is a gentleman, I believe his name, I think his name is Todd.
For me, it's just I'm not desperate. My life goes on with or without it. What's important is the work. I go in that room for those 10 minutes, I do what I want to do, and the rest is whatever. Yes?
The arrogance on this brother was just through the roof. Definitely like lead man material. He was definitely, he had the talent, bro. Dude could sing and dance. By the end of the documentary, he ended up in an ensemble. Humility is another word I want to talk about. Humble thyself. There is a certain level of ego and arrogance I believe you need to have. When you become an artist, you're putting a lot of yourself out there. And there needs to be, man, I'm a fucking monster. I'm a fucking beast when it comes to storytelling. You need to have a little bit of that. You need to have, I would say, a little bit more than a little bit of that. But it can't be so much to where it seeps out and just makes you unlikable. Humility is key. And that's what that brother didn't have. This is it's a long life in this business. When you're gonna make friends, probably make some enemies as well. It's best to make sure that you're at least self-aware of you enough to always have a gauge on it, man. As quick as God gave you something, he'll take it away. Your talent isn't you. Your athleticism isn't you. That's not you. It's a gift. And when your soul is not intact, you taint it, you discredit the creator, and you deserve to sit down for a minute when you're not helping and you're not benefiting society. Let me see, there are a couple of books that I want to recommend when it comes to just things that kind of help me. One of the books in particular is called The Mastery of Self. One of the biggest concepts of this book talks about everybody being drunk at a party. And I strongly equate the drunkenness at the party to what social media is. And self-awareness is you being the sober one there. It's just a great book when it comes to just being aware of yourself and working on where you fucked up at. Another book, and I hate that I just said that fucked up because I'm about to recommend the Bible. Listen, this is not me being righteous. I'm on my maybe 30th attempt of trying to read the Bible. There are a million ways, there are a million translations of this thing, but they say read Matthew, Luke, Matthew, John. Those are the stories that you should start reading. Like I said, I'm on my 30th attempt. But what I have, Proverbs, that's where I start. I started in Proverbs. These short things that just kind of open up a lot for you. As far as just okay, this is mastery of self before mastery of self. I also recommend the Bible because there's very little God in the entertainment industry. And I don't mean religious, I just mean God. He's not glorified enough in our business. And I kind of want to be amongst the few that really glorify God. My walk with him is completely different. I'm learning a lot, but that kind of goes into character too. You have to rely on him. If you believe in that thing, I'm not trying to push this on you. If you believe in God, then the areas of your character where you are falling short, you have to put that in his hands. You really need to sit and meditate on and just be honest with yourself. Be honest with the creator about where you are. I'll say this and then I'll leave. I was going through a very, very rough patch in my life a few years ago. Financially, artistically, just things weren't really coming my way. And you kind of find these dips in your life as an artist where you're up and then you're back down and you're up for a little bit longer than you're back down. I was in one of those down periods. And I wanted to try some shrooms. I heard a lot about just people having spiritual awakenings, and the down moments was just about my personality, like me being angry at things, me constantly fearing and worrying about things. Like I got really tired of it was time for me to start shedding a lot of the younger parts of myself. So I thought about I wanted to do some shrooms. I was gonna do some shrooms. I was gonna do a small little dose. And I prayed on it. I was like, look, God, and I had the opportunity to get some too. Like, attraction works, both negative and positive. But prayer is how you discern what those attractions are. And I remember like praying to God, like, look, man, I want to try this, but I'm gonna try you first. And if I don't really get anything out of this prayer, out of what I'm trying to overcome, trying to be more, I wanted to kind of step into my role as a business owner and speak up for myself a lot more. And I thought that shrooms might be the way for me to kind of put a lot of the old negative parts of myself away. But I prayed on it, and I fast for like 4 days, just strict water and watermelon juice. And like by the end of it, I started to see a lot of a transformation. The trepidation the trepidation to speak up and for myself started to diminish, and I didn't really have the need to do shrooms anymore. I still might in the future, but as far as for that thing, I didn't. And that's just one example of many of how I feel my relationship with God has really helped me as a person and as an artist. The stories that I create are offerings to my community, and they're offerings to Him. Man, if you want longevity and you want to keep all of these things intact, your character intact, walk with God as an artist. Walk with God as a storyteller. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Take it with a grain of salt. If you found any of this helpful, man, make sure you like and subscribe. I enjoy talking. I hope I can be somewhat of a help to the next generation. The goal is to create a generation of storytellers that have this stuff intact. That way you don't become prey in this business. There are a lot of predators out there. But if you arm yourself, you take responsibility for your safety, you can be dangerous instead of being safe. Thank y'all. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.